podcasting network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjollers.com.
I'm joined by none other than Nightshade, who I've been trying to get on for the last month, and our times have been conflicted, but thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you so much for having me.
All right, no worries. Been looking forward to this one. I mean, I did one yesterday, then I got one today, I got one later on tonight, but it's just a busy time for me, off work, so best way to get them in.
Oh, absolutely.
You've had a very interesting weekend. Let's talk about that to begin with, to get it out of the way.
Oh, I know. So this weekend I was at RevPro, and the outcome was not what I expected. My teammates turned on me and ended up putting me through a table.
Oh dear. I mean, let's talk about the match that you was in with. You was in with Hayley J,
Yes.
which that must have been a big one itself.
Yeah, absolutely. She came all the way from America to have this wrestling match at RevPro and to have a RevPro weekend. So it's always really exciting getting to wrestle an import and getting to wrestle someone completely new that you've never met or never had the opportunity to wrestle before. So that's always really exciting.
And then, was it like you mentioned obviously your teammates like betrayed you. So let's talk about all the way from the beginning.
Yeah.
So there was you, Safire Reed, Mercedes Blaze. You had Nina Samuels and Lizzy Evo.
Yes, that's
Talk
right.
to me about that. Where did it all come from? Talk to me about the story.
We all decided that we wanted to take RevPro by storm. We thought Revolution Wrestling, even though it had the most amazing women wrestlers and it put on incredible women's matches, the amount of women's matches were a lot smaller than the amount of men's matches. And we really, really wanted that representation on those shows and on those cards because RevPro is one of the best promotions in Europe. So we all came together and we all decided, you know what, we need to make a stand against this. We're all very big characters, we're all big personalities, quite an unlikely matchup. You know, I don't think anybody would expect to see me stood side by side with the likes of Safire Reed and Mercedes Blaze, Nina Samuels and Lizzy Evo. We're all very, very different. But we thought, you know, this needs to happen. Let's make a mark on Revolution Pro Wrestling. And that's what we did. You know, we stormed out there at the end of Dani Luna versus Rio for the championship. And there was no mark we could have made that was bigger. You know, anybody that stepped in our way, we had no problem taking out. And it was just exactly what we needed to get noticed by management. And since then, we've been matches, we've been appearing, we've been all over RevPro, helping each other and just creating chaos, essentially.
Literally.
So I was very shocked when on Saturday, I go out to have my match against Hayley J. The girls are escorting me to the ring. Everything is brilliant. Everything is great. And then it all went pear-shaped towards the end. I ended up losing to Hayley, but a big part of that was actually because of the girls. You know, they tried to interfere and distract the referee and they were trying to help, but actually it ended up hindering me. And Alex Windsor also decided to make an appearance and to come out.
He did. And so it's like you got replaced by Alex.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that? Alex Windsor has been a RevPro original, we'll say, for quite a while.
I know. I don't know whether she... Yeah, it's just... I guess it is what it is, really. All the girls are out for themselves. You know, clearly they're not to be trusted. It's very hard to make friends in this sort of industry, but especially when everyone is gunning for for top dog and for top place. So, you know, we'll just have to see what happens, and that will not be the last you see of me at RevPro. I am going to teach every single one of those girls a lesson.
So you're going to start off with.
I think we'll see how opportunity arises. I think we'll see what happens. You know, we'll see where I can get in there, and yeah, I guess just opportunity of circumstance. But they've made an enemy of me, turning their back on me. So it's not going to be pretty for them going forward.
So the way I see it, right, there's 5 of them. Nina, Lizzy, Safire, Mercedes, and now Alex. There's
Yeah,
you, there's Dan Luna, there's Rio. We need 2
yeah,
more. 5 on 5.
yeah. Well, at Stevenage, the same show, there was a 3-on-3 match, and that was Kanji, Rio, and Lucia Lee.
I mean, yeah, you can have Kanji and Lucille to the mix and then make it
So,
like a war games match, kind
they
of.
already took on Lizzy Evo, Nina Samuels, and Safire Reed on Saturday at Stevenage. So that was really interesting.
Yeah, I mean, what a time to be keeping your eyes on RevPro for the women's division. It's going to be one not to miss, especially with you getting back in the mix. It'll be very interesting.
Absolutely. It is actually crazy. Like everything that's going on, you literally have no idea what to expect. None of us know what's going to happen next, to be honest. So it really is. It's so exciting. It's so exhilarating to watch. There's so many possibilities. And I think it's just going to be so much fun to see how all of this unfolds. You know, already I was totally and utterly shocked that not only did Alex come back in such a way, the fact that she powerbombed me through a table was just, I did not expect it whatsoever.
So she's the
So,
first person.
pardon?
First person on Nina Nightshade's kill list, we'll call it.
Yeah, honestly, all of them are on Nightshade's kill list now. They really, really are.
Well, that's got to be a
Oh,
suffix.
look at them.
Nina looks happy as usual. Sapphire looks angry.
Yeah,
But yeah,
it should have
I
been
mean,
me in the middle, but
should have. But like I've just mentioned, important time to keep the eye on the RevPro product, which is it's going to be an interesting next few months leading up to the anniversary show.
absolutely.
We also recently got announced that World of Sport's coming back, and I just saw this picture floating about, and I thought, oh, funny enough, I've got her coming up. Let's talk about it.
Yes. Yeah, so World of Sport, WOS, The Return. It's coming back, and I'm so happy to be a part of it.
When did it all start with the talks to be bringing back? When did you get brought into the mix?
Other than my involvement, I don't really know any of the
Yeah.
things that went on prior to my involvement. But yeah, I got contacted to be part of it a couple of months ago, I want to say. And I actually went over to the Epic Studios in Norwich, which is where we're going to be doing the first 2 shows on September 14th. And we're doing a matinee, daytime show, and an evening show for a live audience. It's also going to be recorded. So I went over on Monday, just gone, a week ago on Monday, sorry, where I took that lovely, lovely photograph with the big World of Sport background. I went over to the Epic Studios with a few others that are also involved, and we had a filming day where we took some photographs and we took some video teasers. So what you've seen so far is only just the start of the things that should come out. Hopefully there should be some really interesting hype packages, and there should be some really, really great videos to try and get everybody as excited as we are for WS The Return.
Yeah. I mean, World of Sport, like I mentioned, is coming back September 14th at the Epic Studios in Norwich. If there's any location in the UK that you would like to go, where would it be, apart from Norwich, for World of Sport?
Ooh. I know a lot of people are excited for Blackpool, the Blackpool Tower, and that was always a big bucket list venue of mine, but I have wrestled there quite a few times, actually. I've wrestled there with Mega Slam Wrestling on quite a regular
Appearance.
time. And I also wrestled there with PCW too, Preston City Wrestling. So it is one that I was lucky enough to tick off my bucket list. But I haven't wrestled there for years now. So it would be really excited to go back to the Tower. And I think it's such a nostalgic venue. I'm also a Strictly Come Dancing fan.
Oh,
And they
wow.
have such a big prestige around dancing in the Blackpool Tower. So every time I go there, I always think of Strictly, and I always think of how excited they are to make it to Blackpool. So that would be a really awesome place to go back to. And I don't often travel all the way up north too much, so it'd be really great to see that northern fan base. And to
We
go.
know the North is better than down South, isn't it, though? Let's be honest.
Oh, you can't start this with me. I'm a proper southerner, so
Yeah, you've definitely got the accent.
yeah, I'm a proper southerner, so I can't get into the debate.
Oh dear. But yeah, we've got World of Sport, you got RevPro. You have got a lot of things coming your way, which is really incredible and not to miss.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a really, really exciting time right now. And I just feel so lucky to have these opportunities. And, I've worked so hard for a long time in wrestling. And it's just so amazing for all of the things I kind of wished for and had hoped for to be coming true. So it's really great.
Yeah, I think I mentioned before we went on that you've been in the business for 10 years,
Yes.
which that is a very long time, isn't it?
Yeah.
What's been some of the highlights of your career, you would say?
I've had so many highlights, I feel so lucky to be able to say that as well. It has been a long time I've been in the wrestling business, and it took me a really, really long time to kind of grasp wrestling. It was not something that came naturally to me whatsoever. And I'm so envious of these people that start now and are 1 year training under their belt, and they're just incredible already, because that absolutely was not me. But also 10 years ago, it was a different time for the industry, and there were not anywhere near as many training schools and talented wrestlers as there are now. So, it was a very different time. But some of my absolute highlights, one of my biggest highlights was wrestling for Pro Wrestling Eve. I remember when I got that call and being so, so, so excited to debut and wrestle for Pro Wrestling Eve. And I was in the audience of Pro Wrestling Eve's first ever show. I think I was
Um,
30 years old, and I was in the audience watching it. And I literally sat there like, this is what I want to do when I'm older. So the fact that I went on to wrestle for them, and I now wrestle regularly for them, and I'm currently a tag team champion
you
at Pro.
are.
I've got my SAS t-shirt on right now,
From, yeah, with Sky Smith.
representing myself and Sky Smithson. So the fact that we are actually tag team champions at Eve is just so exciting to me. Like, I don't think anyone will understand what that means to me. And hopefully we'll have a very long reign, and we'll be tag team champions forever.
I mean, that will be amazing because you and Sky Smithson you've been tag team champions for quite a while now.
Yeah.
100 and, well, I think I checked earlier, 120 plus days.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's quite a long time to be champion. That's coming up to 6 months, I think.
That is
Yeah.
crazy. I didn't even realize myself it had been that long. That
I
is
mean, you don't
actually,
win any fun, do you?
Time just flies, like it seriously does. The time goes so quickly. Another one of my big achievements was going to Japan. I've been lucky enough to go on three tours of Japan now, and that was always such a bucket list item. I have always been obsessed with Japanese wrestling, and you always hear about it being like the best place in the world to wrestle. So the fact that I've been there 3 times already is just so exciting to me.
When are you next over in Japan? Is there anything coming up for you?
I don't have any concrete dates, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens with the next tour.
That would be amazing. Obviously, fourth time in Japan. Would you like
Oh,
to? Would you like to go over to Japan for like a 6 month tour, like with Stardom or something like that?
absolutely. Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
because there's a lot of UK talent who has done that. You had Mariah May. You've had, I think, Lizzy Evo's done it. She's mentioned. You've had, who else have you had? Zaya Brookside. You've had Pippa Niven, Kaylee Ray. There's so many talents who's
Yeah,
had done tours with Stardom. And you mentioned,
yeah,
obviously, before we went on, you've done 3 tours. The next one would be Stardom, I would think.
yeah. That would be great. Stardom has had incredible wrestlers. You've mentioned a few of them, and Tony Storm, and
Yeah.
there's been so many incredible girls that have gone to Stardom and learned so much through Stardom. And now Stardom are affiliated with New Japan, which is really, really cool as well. But I would happily go over for 6 months or however long they wanted me for. I love the culture in Japan. I love I love the food. I love the people. I love everything about Japan. So even though it would be, you'd get homesick and it would be difficult, I think I would love to go over for a prolonged period of time and really,
Makes it worth
really,
it, doesn't it?
yeah, yeah, definitely.
Where have you been abroad this year? Because I think you've been to, was it France and Spain you've been?
Yeah, I've wrestled in Germany twice, France and Spain so far this year.
Is there any more places that you are going which you haven't announced or that you've not put in the stone that you're still going abroad? Because there's 6 months left of 2024.
There is. I know. So far, I always find the summer is quieter for international bookings for me.
Everyone says that.
Yeah, I think a lot of the flight prices go up so much. So
Yeah.
because it's tied to the tourist season, it's the summer holidays, the flight prices are like doubled, sometimes even tripled. And I find in these warmer countries, they don't actually tend to do as many wrestling shows in the summer because again, the venues are so much more expensive, the flights are so much more expensive. So the summer's, a little quiet for the international ones for me. But towards the end of the year, I should definitely be popping up internationally again. So
Mm, that'll be interesting. Is it a country
yes,
where you? Is it a country where you've not been?
there's so many countries I haven't been. I literally want to go like everywhere. Like I want to go to like I would love to wrestle over the entire world. And there's actually quite a few European countries I've never wrestled in. So I've never wrestled in Italy, and I
Well,
love Italy as a country. And again, the food. Oh,
I love it. What's your favorite Italian food?
pasta. Any
What pasta
pasta.
do?
It's honestly, I love pasta so much. Pasta's like my favorite food. I
Lasagna.
could eat all day. I love a lasagna. I love a bolognese. I love a carbon. I love it all, honestly. Like
Yeah.
anything pasta, oh, it's so good.
So
And
I,
I always
I,
try and
sorry.
make food and the culture like a big part of my international trips. So when I
Yeah.
do go abroad, if I can, I'll always try and stay like an extra day if it's possible. Because a lot of the time you don't actually see much of the country. You just go and you wrestle and you come home. So if it's possible, like with schedules and things, I will always try to stay an extra day so that I can really try and go sightseeing and eat some of the local food and try the actual authentic cuisines and try to see a bit of the culture.
I mean that'd be amazing because I think obviously wrestlers mostly just go over, do the thing, then come back. But I think wrestlers need to see the culture, try the food. You've got to try and do it.
Absolutely.
I know it's good going over there and seeing them like doing the match and then coming back, but you're not getting the full experience if you don't. It's like in America. It's like Haley J. She comes over. She's in
Yeah.
Stevenage. I know you don't get much time, but go out and get some fish and chips. Do you know what I mean? Get some British.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's something I always really, really try and make the effort to do, no matter how like tired I am or if I'm jet lagged, or I really try and make the effort. And I actually document it all over on my Patreon. So when I
Yeah,
do international trips, I actually do like little vlog videos, and I'll take all of my Patreons along with me, and it kind of feels like they're there with me, and I'll share all of the food that I'm trying and the sites that I'm seeing, and I'll talk to them about the matches and stuff. So that is over on my Patreon as well.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
When I you mentioned obviously you go abroad and you talk and you record and you bit of travel and stuff like that. Well, funny enough, I do that, but I do it on YouTube.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. So it's like this year I've just recently gone around the Caribbean and I did that.
That's
So that was quite.
awesome.
That was quite. Yeah. You just talking
Oh,
to the camera and you get everyone looking at you.
yeah. Yeah, it does make me a bit shy.
Yeah. But once you
Does it
start
make
doing
you?
it, yeah.
Yeah. And I just do it on my phone. I just record everything on my phone. So I don't even
Easy.
have one of those big cameras like some people have.
I just do it on my phone and I find it a lot easier.
Yeah.
And then you're trying to edit it or you're trying to do this, but you've only got like little certain stuff to try and do it with.
Yeah, and it actually takes a really long time as well. I think a lot of
Sure.
people don't appreciate how much time it actually takes making this sort of content.
Yeah. It's like these, do you know the podcast, because we record it now.
Yeah.
Then you finish it, then you download it, then you rewatch it, and then you take it off, then you whatever you don't like, you try and crop out, and
Yeah.
then you try and make a thumbnail, then you've got to write the description, then you've got to try and make it stand out. You see, there's a lot goes into it.
There is, and it's not easy at all. You know, you have to like really sit down and dedicate that time to it. And
Mm.
it's not, it takes a long time. And I don't think some people appreciate actually the time and effort that goes into it.
Trust
But
me. And do you know the most important thing that I find hard about all this is trying to get the game?
really,
Yeah. So when you said yes, this and that, we sorted everything out. I was like, yes.
yeah,
I was like, I've got someone. So
yeah,
I'm up for like a week now, and like I had a pod yesterday, and then one today, the one in the afternoon, and then I've got 2 days. It's only the time I can get it in.
yeah, of course.
I try to do like 4 or 5 a month at the best,
Yeah,
but I think as soon as I've reached my goal with it, which is I've got so many that I want to do, and then as soon as I've done that, I'm gonna have like a month's break or something because I'm kind of getting a bit burnt out.
yeah, definitely. Especially if you're recording so many all at once,
Yeah,
and then it's like, oh great, we've recorded it, but then you have to sit down, you have to like say, you have to edit it, you have to download it, you have to do everything to it, you have to put it out on socials, and it's like the recording it is just like the first step, you know.
yeah. It's
And
time consuming,
yeah, it'll be
but
good for you to just like have a break
oh,
and
yeah.
be able
But
to enjoy
honestly,
it.
thank you for coming on. I really do appreciate it.
Oh no, I really appreciate you having me.
So we've also got, you mentioned earlier PWI, which this was your first year ranking at 128, which is, I think that's quite amazing itself.
Woo! Yes. Yeah, I was so happy to make the top PWI list. And 128, I was so pleased with, because I feel like for my first appearance, 128 is really quite a good
Really good.
number.
Really
Yeah.
good.
And then I've actually followed on, and I was in their latest issue of PWI, and they did a story on me as one to watch.
Wow.
Yeah, so I am waiting on the physical copies because they come out so much later in the UK than they do in America. I think they came out in America and Canada on the 28th of May, I believe. so just over a month ago. But I'm waiting to have the physical copy, and I cannot wait. It's also available to purchase online, so you can read the story. But to feature in the top women's list, 128, I was so excited because it's always been a goal of mine. You know, I think everybody that wrestles is aware of the PWI and knows the lists. And, you know, you sit there looking at the lists and being so happy for everybody else and their numbers and, you know, really praising them. And you think, oh, I hope one day this could be me. So to have made it at 128 was just amazing. I did like a little photo shoot on my Patreon that I posted a picture on Instagram too, with I had like a cupcake and it said like 128 candles with like little
Wow.
confetti coming down, because I was just so excited to be part of it. I wanted to like document my first number, 128, and hopefully as the years go on, you know, hopefully I can get lower and lower in that ranking.
Yeah.
But then for them to contact me and ask me to be featured in a one to watch article, I think it's a single page spread or maybe even a double page spread of one to watch, was so exciting.
But like I said to you earlier, you are a one to one. You're not even a one to watch. You're a one to watch now, because RevPro and Pro Wrestling Eve, and then you've got World of Sport. You've got so many stuff coming up. So you're not one to watch. You're one to you're to watch now, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I want to start watching.
Well, yeah, literally, you've got so many good things lined up and coming up. It's unbelievable.
Thank you. Yeah, it's really exciting. Like last year was like my best year I've ever had wrestling. I went to Japan for almost 2 months. I was out there with Marvelous, and I did so many international bookings. You know, I debuted in Finland, and I went to so many places. I think I was RCW Spain Women's Champion, and I think I went to Spain for RCW and Lucha Libre. I think I went about 9 times last year. And that's just Spain. So it was an incredible year last year. And you do kind of think, oh, how am I going to top that? But so far, I'm having the most fun in wrestling, and the fact that I'm in RevPro with a real storyline, and that was always one of my goals. I always wanted to feature in RevPro heavily, you know, and be one of the main girls in RevPro. So it's really, I'm so happy with the way everything is going. And like you say, having WOS to look forward to, and you never know where the rest of the year might take us, because there is half of it left.
I mean, you do. You're just not going to tell me.
Do you know what? You'd actually be surprised how short notice you get for things. Like I've found this a lot of the time when I've gone to Japan, it's been like very, very short notice. Like they will decide that they want you, and you're like the last person to know. Honestly, they're like, we want you to come. You've got to like sort out the visa and everything. We want you to be here in 2 months. And you're like, oh my gosh, what? Like I have to cancel all of my everything, you know, to be able to go out there, and you have to try and get the visa and everything. And for me, it's always happened really suddenly. Like you do not have much notice as you might think. Yeah, you don't have that much time to prepare, actually.
Yeah, that's very true. We mentioned obviously PWI. You got 128, which is unbelievable. But like I said to someone the other, was it a couple of pods ago? I said to them that obviously, yes, it's out of 250, but if you think of it, really, it's narrowed down to 250, but it's out of 500, really. So
Yeah.
you're 128 out of 500. Think of it like that. That's really impressive. But then they just
It
narrowed it
really
down
is.
to 50.
Yeah, it really is. And like, I'm so happy, honestly. Like, I will never, ever forget ranking 128. I really won't.
Why don't you get a tattoo on your rib, 128?
Ah! Yeah, but then imagine this year I rank again and it's higher or lower. Then I'll have to do all the numbers.
Why don't you do it down your leg? Oh, what?
Oh my gosh, can you
Still want to
imagine?
ask you. Oh, what's then? Oh, it's your bingo numbers.
Ah. I'll tell people it's like my lottery numbers or my lucky numbers.
No, it could be a lucky number like 128. Oh yeah,
Yeah.
it's my phone pin.
Yeah. When I posted that celebratory picture on my Instagram holding the candles that said 128, someone commented like, "God, I didn't know you were that old."
Jesus, friggin' hell.
And I thought that was so funny. I guess like it is a bit of a strange thing to see, isn't it? Like birthday candles, but it's
Yeah.
128.
Did you just put that? Did you not put a caption or anything?
I definitely did put a caption, but they probably just looked and didn't
You
read
probably
it.
just put one to remember.
Yeah, literally.
Oh.
Oh, it's so funny.
So, I mean, you've had an interesting career, like we mentioned last year and this year. Have you ever been to Denmark?
I have never been to
Because
Denmark.
people have said that that's obviously it's expensive, but people have also said that it's a place to be for wrestling. So
Yeah.
that's quite interesting.
Yeah, I've never been to Denmark, but I've seen a lot of my friends go over there. And I know people that have gone over and trained over there and things, and it looks like an amazing, beautiful place to go that is definitely like on my bucket list.
Yeah.
So hopefully one day I will go over to Denmark.
Touch wood. Who is your Mount Rushmore of professional wrestling?
Do you know, I find these questions so hard, but for me, I'm gonna have to go to like back in the day, like when I first started watching it.
Back in the day. How back
Back
in the day we're talking?
back in the day. So I started watching wrestling.
If you say back in the day to me, that's the 90s.
No, well, I was born in the 90s. So
I'm a millennium baby.
oh, are you? Stop it.
Jen.
Obviously, I've gone back to like watch it all, but
Yeah.
for me, like the moments that really stand out for me, well, it's like it wasn't even the best wrestling happening or the best wrestling ever. It was just like when I first discovered it is like the time that resonates so much with me because it was like my first ever encounter of wrestling. And like I became so obsessed with wrestling after I just turned the TV on one day and WWE Raw was on. So for me, my Mount Rushmore, there's four, right?
Yeah. Someone picked 5 yesterday, but I'll let him off.
Oh. So I think I've got to go from when I first discovered wrestling, which was about 15 years ago now.
Okay.
I'm gonna have to go Mickey James,
Okay.
Randy Orton,
No surprise.
Melina,
Yes, I've met her. Very nice.
and who should I do for my last one? Do you know what? The last one, I have to stay true to myself. I'm gonna go Jeff Hardy.
I actually knew you was going to say him.
No, you did
I did.
not.
I was saying Jeff, because he's like
Really?
that era, isn't it? From like
Yeah.
2006 to 2009, he was like the most popular character in WWE apart from John Cena.
Yeah, honestly, I loved the Hardy Boys so much. Like, I loved them, but I was always a Jeff girl. Like, seeing him dive off of things and doing those crazy bumps, and he was so charismatic and just everything about him. I loved Jeff Hardy.
He's unbelievable talent.
Yeah, and it's so funny because me and my sister discovered wrestling together, and we always used to sit and watch the wrestling together. And she loved Matt, and I loved Jeff.
So it's like, who knows, isn't it? It's like fighting.
Yeah, so we were always rooting for them, but I was always cheering Jeff on, and she was cheering Matt on. But I think
So
that's got to be my Mount Rushmore, just for like the nostalgia, honestly.
if I could ask you, what is the biggest what if in professional wrestling?
Oh, what do you mean?
Like, what if Vince didn't buy WCW? Like, what if the screw job didn't happen in Montreal? What to
Oh
you
my
is the biggest what?
gosh. Oh, that is. Do you know what? I actually think, like, what if World of Sport was never a thing in England?
Yeah, I can
Like,
see that.
can you actually imagine? Because it's like everyone used to watch World of Sport on a Saturday afternoon. Like everyone. And I feel like it gave us so much, like it really gave us our British style of wrestling. And it gave us like that legacy of wrestling. And like what if that was never a thing?
That's true.
Like I think that would be crazy to think about. Like I wonder if we'd even have the independent scene that we have now. And I
That's
think that's another reason I'm just so excited to be a part of WOS The Return. You know, it's early days right now, and I'm not sure like where it's going to lead to or what is even really happening because it's I'm just a part of it. We're very much kept in the dark. But to be a part of something that has such a huge legacy and there's so much history behind it, anyone that's of a bit older generation that you talk to and you tell them, oh yeah, I do wrestling, and they're like, oh, I remember the wrestling. I remember World of Sport on a Saturday afternoon with Big Daddy. Like that's the thing I hear the most when I tell people I wrestle in England. They'll say, oh, I remember World of Sport. I remember Mick McManus. I remember Giant Haystacks. And I think for me, actually wrestling for the World of Sport WOS brand is like such a big goal that I never knew I would actually be able to achieve because they did the last WOS run and even like the talent that was on that, like Viper, Piper Niven was on that and Blair Davenport and it's like to think of where those people have gone on to and the careers that they've had and they were involved in the last WOS. So it's really exciting for me.
that is. Are you a WWE or an AEW girl?
I love them both, honestly. Like I like them both in different ways and I support them both like massively. I just love wrestling and I think the more wrestling the better. The more opportunities for us to be able to have like full-time contracts or full-time pay. And I think it's always good to have a bit of healthy competition. I
That's
think
true.
it always kind of, makes it's like when the brands are kind of feuding, that's always the wrestling that I've really enjoyed. But honestly, I love them both. I can't choose between the two. So,
Who is your dream opponent?
do you know what? I actually don't know. I find
Wrong
these sorts
answer.
of questions. I find these sorts of questions so hard because I don't really. I find it really hard to like pick favorites and pick like the number ones. But there's just so many people I want to wrestle, honestly. Like I would love to wrestle Jordan Grace.
Yes.
So I actually did wrestle her at Pro Wrestling Eve in a triple threat match, but it was years ago and it was quite rushed. We didn't really have much time and it's not kind of what I would have liked it to have been.
Yeah.
So I would love to have a singles with Jordan Grace. But I'd love to wrestle Mickey James. There's so many people that I want to wrestle. It's hard for me to find, like, to actually pick the top ones.
So, what's an inspirational message from Nightshade?
An inspirational message.
Yeah. I ask that everyone.
Oh, my message would be to just try whatever you want to do in life. I believe in you. Nightshade believes in you. But honestly, like just keep on going, just keep working hard. I never thought I would be where I am now. And like even where I am now is not where I want to be. But just never give up. Keep on trying hard. Keep giving it your best. And don't forget to have fun whilst you're doing it too. Because I think it's so easy to think, oh, but I want to be doing this, or oh, I want to be signed, or oh, I want to be, I'm not quite there yet. But you really do have to, like, as cliche as it sounds, you really do have to enjoy the journey. as
very
well, because you just have to enjoy every moment and every part in life. So I believe in you. I believe you can achieve your dreams, and yeah, just have fun. Have fun whilst you're at it.
Where can people find you?
I am Nightshade PW on Twitter, or shall I say X? I'm not used to calling it X yet. I'm Nightshade Wrestler on Instagram. I am also Nightshade Wrestler on Facebook. My Patreon that we discussed slightly earlier is Nightshade Wrestler, and I also have a big cartel where you can pick up things like our SAS t-shirts and my own Nightshade and Lampshade t-shirts, which is Nightshade Wrestler at Big Cartel.
Yeah, honestly, thank you, Nightshade, for coming on. I really do appreciate your time. This has been one of the craziest, funniest podcasts I've done, so thank you.
No, thank you. I've had so much fun being on, so thank you for having me.
We do appreciate it. Thank you. Take care. Have a good day.
Thank you, you too.